Greetings, World Wide Web, and welcome to Celebrity Liar, the coolest game show on the internet. My name is Andrew Hill Newman, and if you agree with me, you will say that Great Britain's three greatest contributions to the modern world are Elvis Costello, the BBC version of The Office, and the young lady standing right next to me, Louise Rowe.
Wow! Thank you. Thanks.
What? It's all true. It's all true. Louise is our chat jockey, which is pretty much the greatest reason to log into our chat room and participate in Celebrity Liar. And Louise, you may not know this, is also a world-renowned television presenter and fashion correspondent and knows a heck of a lot about the world of fashion. So I got to ask, any hope for me? Any suggestion? What?
I think we should swap shoes. You can't see them, but mine are fabulous.
Yes.
That's why I'm being a little bit, I can do this, because I'm wearing them.
Are you
No,
taller
you're
than
looking
me
fab,
without-
Andy. You're looking fab.
Thank you so much.
Sleek, chic,
See,
and
yes, I got
sharp.
the job. It's fun. Yeah, mine are kind of elfin and hobbit-like, and hers are cool. I don't know that I could balance in them. So Louise is going to get settled in the chat room,
I am.
and so should you. And let me give you some instructions on how to do that. If you're watching us on theroomlive.com and you're on the home page, click on the little white bar underneath the viewer that says Chat and View Larger, and it'll bring you to another page where you'll be able to view larger, and there's a chat room right below that. It's really easy to log in and pick a username and do that, and you'll get to talk to Louise and with our celebrity guests. And if you're watching on Ustream, go over to theroomlive.com and click through on that chat or view larger window, and you'll also be able to vote. It's an awesome thing. So why don't I bring out our celebrity guests so we can play our game. We have two fabulous celebrity guests tonight. Our first guest is a legitimate quadruple threat. He acts, he sings, he dances, he plays music with things you find in the kitchen. He's been one of the funniest things in some of the funniest movies in the past decade, including Old School and The Hangover. He's got a beautiful wife named Kathy. He's got a gorgeous, talented daughter. You should hear her sing, named Samia. And speaking of singing, he and his fantastic band, the Dan Band, put on one of the greatest live shows you will ever see. So be sure to catch them. How about it, Dan Finnerty?
Hey, thank you.
Can I get some?
Oh, hey, what are you
thanks.
doing?
Don't
How's it
ignore me.
going?
You got a better intro than me, so I want a high five.
Oh, whatever.
Well, yours was pretty good.
It was. I'm only
modern
kidding, Andy. It
world.
was unreal. The
Awesome.
best.
Your parents are here and they're very proud.
Yeah.
Dan will be facing off in this episode of Celebrity Liar against a mother of 4 children, a poker icon with over $3 million in tournament winnings and a World Series of Poker bracelet to her credit. Last year, she was a finalist on Celebrity Apprentice, and let's face it, she should have won. She does a lot of amazing work for a lot of great charities, including Annie Up for Africa. She's a consultant for UltimateBet.com, and in her spare time, she wrote an autobiography that's really awesome and entertaining. Plus, she's referenced in pretty much every book about poker I've ever read and written chapters, and she's great. Annie Duke, how about it?
Yeah.
Welcome, Annie. Thanks so much.
I want to be a quadruple threat at some point.
Well,
You're probably
you know.
quintuple. I mean, I just didn't even read enough of your biography.
there's lots more, Andy, but I'm okay with it.
I can make the pot holders. That's threat number 1. You know, the weaving thing.
And you beat Joan
Swear
Rivers
not.
on The Apprentice.
No.
You
well,
did.
Thank you. I
You should have won.
appreciate that. I
That's the
appreciate
only
that.
compliment I'm giving you tonight.
In our country, many elections go the wrong way.
It's
As a
true.
matter of fact, that is true. And I'm
Some
gonna,
more recent
I'm
ones.
gonna
You're
take
taking it
the-
there already, Andy, honestly.
Yeah.
We're only 2 minutes in.
And all of a
appeal
sudden
to the
the-
Supreme Court.
People are clicking off because they don't agree with my political views.
Wow.
I should point out that not only are Dan and Annie coming.
Anti-panty.
Okay, I'm a little drunk.
Yeah, yeah.
Not only are they competing for honor and to be a victor, but they're also competing to support the charities they believe in because one of them is going to win a possibility of winning $73 million in tomorrow night's Mega Millions drawing.
I can't
Well,
wait.
one of us actually won.
I'm gonna
It
win.
would be ridiculous
Yeah,
and cool,
yeah.
and it would be great publicity for the show.
That's
so
true.
That's true.
I mean,
Yeah.
point.
I want you to get the cash. I want your
That's
charities to get the
diabolically
cash.
smart of you.
But I also want
Yeah.
us to get all the press about giving away a lottery ticket on a web show and then winning up to $73 million.
Yeah.
So let's plug those charities because I'm sure they're really great and important. Annie, who are you playing for?
Well, just given what's happening right now, the Red Cross for Haiti. So, you know, yeah, terrible, terrible things. I'm not giving to Pat Robertson, just to Haiti.
Okay, so how about you, Dan?
She's already lying. That was my charity. I'm giving to the Red Cross for Haiti.
All right, so the American
heck?
Red
Look at my hair.
Cross is a winner already.
It looked
like
better
the
when I was
back
on the
of
other
it.
side. Everyone laughed because they agree. They're like, yeah, damn. Whatever, alfalfa. I can't help it. I usually wear a hat. Shut up. All right, go on.
Here's how the game works. Both of our celebrity guests are going to tell you the same short anecdote as if it happened to them.
Okay.
In truth, it really only happened to one of them, and you've got to decide who's the liar. Well, we don't know yet because we don't know which story. They've shared a lot of stories before we went on the air,
Yes.
and we're going to select one at random. We know Dan's going first because we also selected that at random. They don't know which story is coming up.
We don't
whether
know
it's
you guys.
honestly Dan's story or Anne's story. And I should also point out that Louise and I, we don't know whose story it is
We
either.
have not got a clue. I'm excited about
okay.
this.
And we're going to be playing along with you.
Yeah.
While they're telling their stories, you can chat with each other in the chat room about who you think might be lying, whether it's a physical thing that's giving them away or maybe a detail that they're not keeping straight. And then after they're done telling their stories, we're all going to pepper them with questions. Kind of a
Pepper us with questions.
Not so
I
gentle
like that.
interrogation. And that's a chance for you to participate and throw your own questions through Louise.
Yes, guys, I want all the questions. As cheeky, as rude as you want, I'll throw them at them. Come on, bring it on. I'm in the
Okay.
room. I'm in the room.
I'm going to start
Yeah.
working cheeky
Live.
into my everyday
Cheeky.
conversation.
It's
I
so
like
Mary
Chappy.
Poppins. I love
I like
it.
that.
Yeah.
Louise
that's
is
good.
teaching me so many new words. Planket, cheeky.
Bollocks.
Bo- awesome.
Bollocks.
I think it's bad.
I'm in
We-
trouble
we-
now.
Oh.
It's not that rude.
I know the Sex Pistols album, but
Someone's just asked me, I need a riding crop. You're so right. If I'm going to be a chat jockey,
Yeah.
anyone?
I
I've got
was
a
thinking
studio
actually
audience.
that we should call you a chat mistress, and the riding crop would work for that.
Chat
It's true.
mistress, loving
Yeah.
it.
Yes.
We're live in the dungeon.
Someone has
Right.
even suggested I'm a chat vixen, but her name is rather rude. Horpit Viper.
Oh, Horpit Viper.
Is that your
that's what I-
friend?
That's my mom.
He's my.
Hi, Mom.
Hi, Mum. Hi, Mum.
He's one of my Twitter followers. He's a wonderful.
Oh,
Twitter
it's a
follower.
he.
Oh.
I think
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it's a he. Yeah.
I would have gone with a she.
He actually made shirts that say Horde Pit Viper, and he's selling them on Cafe Press. So if they're still up there, you should go there and you can get a Horde Pit Viper shirt.
Nice
yeah,
plug
and
for
we'll
them.
have Celebrity
That's so
Live
funny.
merchandise there really soon.
I've never met him in real life, but
Okay.
Awesome. Why don't we get to our first story? I am going to hold
okay.
aloft
I'm very
the
nervous.
bowl
Are you
of
nervous?
stories.
Yeah,
Dan? I'm nervous.
yeah, I'm very scared, but whatever. Easy.
Okay.
All right.
You guys shouldn't be nervous. You both played this game before, and you're both really good at it.
I know, but she's such a good liar
All right, let's get 2 minutes on the clock.
and a good kisser.
And Dan Finnerty, please begin.
Is
by-
this my camera?
It will be.
All right, good.
The story we'd like to hear from you, that you have 2 minutes, and I will cut you off when the 2 minutes is up.
So rude.
The story is called Shattered Halloween.
Okay, here's what happened. My mother was head of Republican women in New York State, which is crazy. We've since converted her, unless you're a Republican, and then, you know, vote for me. But she was running this campaign for this guy that was coming to run for governor. I can't remember really what he was running for, but he was running for something. And I sound like I'm lying, but I'm really not. And there was an empty storefront that she converted into like her campaign place where he was going to speak. And it was Halloween day, and so my sister and I had been there all day long, and we were so bored. And the guy finally came to give his big speech that my mom prepared this whole time for, and my sister locked me out of the storefront door, and she was making faces at me through the glass, and I got so mad that I kicked the door and it shattered. And glass was everywhere, and the guy stopped his speech and looked over, and all these old Republican ladies whipped their heads around, and my mom was horrified, obviously, and she came over and sat us down in these metal folding chairs, and she was like, "There's no trick-or-treating for you tonight." And I was devastated. I was like, "But you worked so hard on the costume. You're punishing yourself." And then she walked away, and I started, like, the guy kept talking, doing the speech, and I started to cry. And this nice old lady, Rosalie Gossett, came over, and I'd known her my whole life, and she leaned down to me, and she's like, "You got what you deserved." And I was like, "This is the worst Halloween ever." And she later fell off a truck in the dairy parade, in the dairy festival. She was waving in a chair, and literally the guy stopped, and she flew right out. So she got what she deserved, actually. But
wow.
Oh, well, I know, it's
Punchy.
tough, whatever. And cheeky. And then also, 21 seconds. And then, but I went home and got the strength of 1,000 8-year-olds and flipped my bed over in this crazy rage, and I was freaking out. And my dad came upstairs to, like, punish me, and he was so freaked out that I was this spaz that he let me pick 5 houses, and my mom couldn't believe it. So I got to go to 5 houses, and my grandma gave me all the Halloween candy she had in her bowl, and I made more. I hate it here. I got more candy than I would have if I walked away.
What's interesting about your story
Does that disqualify him? He went after 2 minutes.
This from the lady who
That's
did the
fine.
last round. Roll the clip.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow, Annie, I understand that something very similar happened to you, and we're going to put 2 minutes on the clock, and after you insult Karen briefly, which...
Well, it was an excellent story if it actually had happened to him.
Yeah, but as soon as you start telling it to us, your 2 minutes will start to run.
Okay. So I grew up in Concord, New Hampshire.
Yep.
And when I grew up, Concord, New Hampshire was a very, very Republican place. It's now blue, but it was very red back then. My mother and father, I think, might have been the lone Democrats in the whole state, unfortunately. In fact, one of my main memories when I was growing up was a big McGovern poster on the study wall. So anyway, she always stumped for the Democratic Party, and she was stumping for, indeed, a governor. And she had set up a storefront that did have a glass door in front of it in order for him to be able to come and give this speech. It was like her, the campaign headquarters that she had set up for the Democratic Party in New Hampshire. So it was Halloween, and we were actually dressed in our costumes. And I was wearing this little, it was like a leopard costume, like it was very cute. Anyway, my brother was tormenting me, as he always does. And as everybody kind of milled around and my mom got distracted and the speech was about to start, my brother dastardly locked me out of the storefront, which was really cold because all I had on, it was like this leopard costume, but it was made out of like some sort of synthetic, like it wasn't fur, it wasn't actually leopard fur. So my mom had made the costume. It was a little hood and stuff like that, and I had sort of these little mittens, but they were, it's New Hampshire, so it was like 30 degrees out, and I was freezing cold, and I was knocking on the door, but nobody heard me because there was, obviously there were a lot of people inside, and I got really mad, and I kicked the door, and it shattered. At which point, of course, everybody in there heard me, and they all turned around, and they got pissed off. My mom got really, really upset with me, and despite my telling her, no, it was my brother's fault, she told me that I wasn't allowed to trick-or-treat anymore, which sent me into tears. And so I'm crying, and I'm really, really upset, and I can't believe it, and my brother's just sort of in the corner, not owning up to what had happened. And then my babysitter, Gretchen Doucette, came over to talk to me, and I actually thought that she was going to comfort me because I was really unhappy and crying, and she just came over and was like, "You got what you deserved," which I was really sad about. I went home, and
That's it?
Thanks for playing,
I always
Del.
run out of time, and I can't finish the story.
Well, you've got so many true details, it's hard to fit them all in.
Let me at him,
But I
I'm
want them to ask me
excited.
because it's really interesting what happened in the end with my brother. So if they'll ask me that would be nice.
Okay.
Maybe the chat
Okay.
room will ask you about it. I've got a question for both of you first to kick this off.
Yeah.
You both spoke of stumping for a governor, but do you, either of you, or both of you, I posed a question, do you remember what the candidate's name was?
I was fucking 8 years old, man. I mean, I know who the actual governor was at the time, which was Meldrum Thompson.
A Republican or Democrat?
He was a Republican because it was a very Republican state, but he started, I remember he had a hot dots campaign, which was those little, do you remember the orange glowing dots that you were told to stick on the back of your shoes? And because my mom had so indoctrinated me against him, we got the brochure and it had his picture on it. And in my elementary school class, I got in big trouble because I drew like little devil horns and a mustache.
So I guess this Democratic opponent didn't win.
No, well, nobody won. I mean, they just went blue like sometime around
Sure. And Dan, do you remember the name, or were you too young also?
I remember Duryea. That's what I remember.
Okay.
That's all. It's true. Google it. Duryea.
Chat room has got a lot to say, Andy.
Okay.
If you guys are ready.
Yes,
Yeah.
we're quite ready.
Dan, strength of 1,008-year-olds. I'm just got to give some props to that.
Thank you.
Brilliant phrase of the night. Loving it. I'm going to
Thank
use
you.
that if that's
You
okay.
should see his show. 'Cause his
Um,
banter at his show
it's-
is like so. It's like so. He's like the banter.
I'm
guy.
digging
So
it.
good.
Thanks,
a
Andy.
new,
I know,
a
it's
new
really
fan.
good.
Not
It's
that I'm
fun.
biased.
I've seen
Okay.
him like 3 times. live.
Right, enough of that. Let's get straight to the questions.
Yes.
JL Jeffs, how old were you?
I think I was 10 years. I was 3rd grade. So whatever you are in 3rd grade.
I
'Cause
don't know. I'm English. We don't do grades.
Look at you in the old
Sorry.
levels. 3rd grade. So I think that's like 8 or 9.
Okay, 8 or 9. Celeb poker for the. Celeb poker for the. You need an E in there for it's celeb poker forever. Change your address.
Okay.
Note to self. Anyway, celeb poker for the wants to know, what did you go as for Halloween?
Oh, I had the same question.
That year, and here's why my mom had punished herself, because my dad was a judge, and we took his judge's robe, we put a sombrero on my head, and then we stuck a wig head on top of the sombrero, just a white wig head, and put the judge's robe over the sombrero so it looked like shoulders. And I looked like a
Oh,
crazy,
the
creepy
headless.
alien walking around. And when we went to my grandma's house, I rang the buzzer. She was the last one I got to go to. I rang the buzzer. She opened the door and threw in a little half a Snickers into the bag. And,
Like a
and then shut the
half-eaten?
door. Yeah, like the little teeny ones, not half eaten. That'd be awful.
That'd be gross.
But she shut the door, and I was like, oh my God, this is the worst day ever. Like, I thought, she usually gave me a bunch of candy anyway, and I rang the buzzer, and I started crying, and I was like, Grandma, it's me! And I popped through, and she was like, you get in here, and then she dumped the whole bowl.
You guys are both pretty strong contenders. A lot of detail going on here.
Yeah.
Okay, Music Alone wants to know, both of you, what year did this happen?
Well, for me, it was 1978.
Okay,
For me, it was 1972.
okay.
Interesting. I wanted to know, Annie, you said that your brother, I'm assuming this is Howard,
Yes.
what was he dressed as on that Halloween? Do you remember what his costume was? Your leopard sounds kind of cute, but what was he?
My leopard thing was very, very, very cute. He was dressed as the Hunchback of Notre Dame. He had, my father had this sort of gray sweater that I actually inherited when I was a teenager, which is weird, and he had stuck a hump under it, and then he had gotten some, like a patch for his eye, and the whole, it was very cute.
And was he, this was actually for you, your mom worked for Republicans? Is
Yeah.
what you said. And were both your parents Republican? Or, I mean,
Yeah.
and so,
What happened to me?
Yeah, that's a good question.
I don't know. I grew up in a farm town. I moved to New York City. That's what happened.
it's funny,
Yeah.
I wouldn't have pegged you for coming from those roots.
I had a
also,
Zima.
you-
Yeah.
Basically, in your house, tantrums get rewarded with what you want, is what you're saying.
That was a life lesson I learned. I was like, if I can flip the mattress, I get what I want.
Well,
So
I'm also curious, Annie, there was part of your story we didn't get to.
Yes, so what happened was when we got home, I was still so upset and I was crying, and my brother took pity on me. And he told my mother that he had accidentally, even though it was on purpose, he had accidentally locked me out of the place. And so he sort of fessed up to it enough that he didn't lose his trick-or-treating, but I got mine. So, and I actually didn't sell him out.
how hypothetically nice of him.
My brother, as much as he was pissed off that particular day because he was bored, my brother was very good to me in general, and he always has been.
Louise, do we have any other questions from the chat
Couple
room?
more. Be a little bit more exciting with your questions. JL Jeffs, how old was your sister and what's her name?
My sister was 4 years older, and her name is Sue.
Okay.
She still is 4
And
years old.
some fan of Keisha, the singer, what does P. Diddy feel like when he wakes up in the morning? That's a line from her new song, in case you're like knocked down with the kids and
Yeah.
you know the new tune. Any answers to that?
Does he have his umbrella man still? I don't. Did
Maybe.
P. Diddy have an umbrella man?
I would just go with
Like he
hungover
paid someone to
and
just
rock
have
with
an
that.
umbrella?
I think
Yeah, yeah.
hungover is a really good
Smelling
answer.
of
That's good,
vodka.
yeah.
It's time for you all to vote if you haven't already. So if you're in the room live and you're on the page where you get to view it larger, you see that the place to vote is right there next to the chat room. If you're watching on Ustream, click through over to the room live right now so you can vote, because we've got a thing there. And what you're voting on is who you think is lying. Who's the liar? Is Dan the liar or is Annie the liar? They don't want to win this vote. They would rather They would rather that you believe them. It's kind of like Survivor, where you don't want to see your name up there.
Yeah.
So
That's
go ahead
true.
and vote right now for who you think the liar is. I'll give you a second to click over in case you're on the other page, and Louise will tell us the results of the vote. And also, Louise, I'm really curious to get your opinion of who you think is lying, because I've kind of switched back and forth a
like
couple
the
times.
vote, I've switched a bit, and everything you say seems to make it oscillate up and down.
That's
Just watch your words,
interesting.
peeps.
It's like the vital statistics.
Yes, it is.
Fantastic.
Are we
Can
ready
people
yet?
vote more than once so they're like changing their mind?
No, I believe that we have it set up so that you can only vote once.
Oh, so it's not individuals changing their mind.
No,
We
so
don't
you
want
can-
any fickle people. out
Yeah,
there.
no stuffing
Make your
our
decisions,
virtual
stick to
ballot
it.
box here. So, Louise, what is the result of the vote? Who
Are
does
you
the
ready?
audience think the liar is?
67% think that, I like talking this slowly, Dan is the liar.
They think that Dan is liar. I got to tell you that I agree. I also have it right here. I think Dan is lying. Louise, who do you think is lying?
At first I thought that Annie was, but then after the story you said kind of this, and I don't know, the minute you start stuttering, dude. So
Oh, I can't help it.
I believe he had that costume,
Sorry.
but I don't believe that he kicked the glass in. So let's reveal it this way, because it's kind of exciting. Will the person who was lying please stand up?
Get up, woman.
Oh!
I can't believe it.
Get up, woman!
How do you beat anything?
Wow, fantastic.
I did have a little leopard costume though.
Oh,
I
give me
knew-
a
I
break
could tell
with
that was
you
true.
talked
It
for
was so
40
cute.
minutes about your leopard costume and how it kept you warm.
No,
That's
it
a-
wasn't warm. It was really thin and it was horrible.
Oh.
It had little mitts and you had to roll them up to be able to use
And
them.
it was not real leopard
But I have
skin.
pictures of my children in that same leopard costume because I saved it. My mom made it by hand.
I'm so happy for her and your
Did.
kids.
I have They look so cute in it too.
That's the key to good lying, is use
know-
real details from another story.
Apparently.
Or just use the real story, which is
Well, that's crazy, because I was sure that you had that costume from another time, but that wasn't your story.
where did I stutter? Where?
After
Well,
you told
for-
the story,
When
when
I
you were
added
just
details
adding
about my
it was
grandma?
actually probably me that tripped you up, or chat room peeps who
It
tripped
was.
you up.
That's interference.
Because it was
Sweet.
after.
Awesome. Well,
Okay.
really good job. Let's see if you can do it again. We're going to pull one more story
Okay.
out of
Oh, do
our...
I go first this
Well,
time?
you do get to go first this
Okay.
time. Let's get 2 minutes on the clock. And Annie Duke will begin by telling us the story that we like to call Disney World.
Oh, Disney World. This is such a good story. So for anybody who knows my brother in particular, this is going to be a good story. So my dad was a school teacher. My mom didn't work, so we didn't have any money. And so all our vacations were like going to Connecticut to visit my grandmother or Philadelphia to visit my Jewish relatives. It was divided. Anyway, so we get this package. It's like this all-inclusive package, which would only work for a school teacher salary to go to Disney World, which meant you stayed at like a crappy hotel in Orlando, and then you got passes to go to Disney World for a day, and then Busch Gardens for a day, and whatever. Anyway, one of the places that we got to go was Wet n Wild. So this was when I was 14 years old, which would have been 1979, and sunscreen wasn't exactly advanced, and they certainly didn't have like waterproof sunscreen. So my brother and I go, and as you can tell, I want to show you. Look, you see how pale I am. So my brother's pale too. It's the half Irish, half Jew thing. And so my mom gave us what was sort of the maximum sunscreen back then, and she said, slather it on, which I did and my brother did. And then we're playing at Wet n Wild in the waves and everything, and she keeps saying, reapply, reapply, reapply. My response to that is to reapply, because I had already had experience with putting baby oil on trying to get a tan, and that was
Ooh.
yeah. So I was sort of massively reapplying. My brother kept saying, don't nag me, Mom. Stop nagging me, Mom. So he actually never reapplied after the first time. But he kept showing her, like, look, I don't have any color yet. Because you get red later, right? So he just kept saying, like, oh, I'm still white. So we go back to the hotel, and we were actually sharing it was like a motel, right? So we're sharing one of the rooms, and my parents are in the adjoining room. And I hear from the bathroom, because my brother's taking a bath, he sort of starts moaning, right? He's like moaning. And of course, at this point, the burn has started to fully realize, and it's like a really, really, really terrible burn. And so he was really sick, but we were going to the Swedish Smorgasbord, which was across from the motel, to go eat, which we were all really excited about. So we left my brother behind. And I'm now out of time, so you're not going to hear the rest of the story.
Oh.
I know, it's so sad because the end of the story is again really good. Really good.
You embellish, you run out of time when it's not your story.
Yes.
It's very interesting. 'cause she
Unfortunately,
was
this is
lying
mine,
last
and I
time.
need to tell the end of the story, which is so excellent about
Well,
my brother.
perhaps someone in the chat room will ask you about it, but now
Yes.
it's Dan's turn. Let's make sure we get 2 minutes back on the clock. And Dan, why don't you tell us the similar thing that supposedly happened to you?
Well, it did, Andy. Let me tell you what happened. Ding, I'm not going to take extra time. I don't need it. Wait till the... Okay, here's what happened. It was 1978, and I wanted to go to Disney World. My sister had already been earlier, before, and I wasn't allowed to go because I was too young. So we went all the way to Florida, and she always had these little fits. I hope she's not watching, but she was full of temper tantrums, and she had this whole screaming fit about a bikini that she wanted. And I didn't care about the swimming part because, like Annie stole from my story, I couldn't be whiter. Look at this. It's like a fish belly. And 15, it was the joke that I wore SPF 15 back then. So I didn't care about the ocean part of Florida. I didn't care about Wet and Wild, where my sister wanted to go, because she was both. I wanted to go, hey, thanks. She wanted to go, yeah, I don't know what I'm talking about. I wanted to go to Disney World. So we went, and part of the compromise so that my sister wouldn't have a tantrum was that we would, the next day after Disney World, go to Wet and Wild. So we were Wet and Wild, and my sister put baby oil on, which was a big thing in the late 70s before anyone knew what time it was. Oh my God, 53 seconds. And she got this horrific burn. The thing I wanted to do the most after Wet and Wild was go to this place called Kay's Cafeteria because they had cake that was this big. They literally cut, it was like, oh my God, all these layers. And I was so excited to go. My sister's sunburn was so bad that my parents were going to have her stay in the hotel because it was right next to Kay's Cafeteria. She came in anyway. They put Noxema on her face, so her whole face was white. They got her liquid Benadryl because my godfather was an eye doctor, and he could get a prescription, and he happened to be on the trip as well. So he got a prescription for liquid Benadryl. She came in, she was all drowsy, Noxema face, and she wanted some of this cake or whatever. And my parents were like, what are you doing here, Susan, what are you doing here? And she was all red and Noxema, and she threw up all over this table, and it splattered all over this couple having their honeymoon.
Nice, nice.
Oh, right on time!
The end of that story that he told was sort of true, by the way. Somewhat.
Well, I'll begin with that question then. What happened to Howard after you all abandoned him and went to the Swedish smorgasbord?
We slathered Noxema on him, and then we went to the Swedish smorgasbord. Actually, and so next to us at the Swedish smorgasbord, it was a buffet, and it actually had like Swedish meatballs. So we were all eating, and my brother, who was very heavy back then, walked into the Swedish smorgasbord in the middle of it, and we're like, and he's bright red, and he starts eating, and he used to eat very fast, and he stood up, and he's like, I don't feel well to go to the bathroom, and threw up all over the next table, which was indeed honeymooners.
Interesting.
It was really gross.
Why have
He
a
has
clock if
trouble.
you get to keep telling the story?
Yeah, I gotta say, Andy.
Oh my God.
No, well, I gotta say,
As your, what am I? Jockey?
you're the chat jockey, and,
sorry.
you know.
Dare I forget my nickname? First of all, can you fix your mic, my love?
Oh,
Because we
oh,
need to
oh,
hear
it's
what
that.
you're
Look at
saying,
that.
whether
The
it's
lion
true
shot
or
your
not.
mic right off your shirt.
Exactly. But Andy, it is a little unfair. Why are we putting the 2 minutes on if then we're allowing certain people to finish their
You know what?
story?
I didn't think she was going to take advantage with so much detail. I just thought she
I'm
might say
sorry.
something
Not
like,
being
well, Howard
favoritism.
threw up too.
He was so
but I
sick.
gotta say that a lot of it just seemed really similar to what Dan said, so she might have just been copying. I'm not
Okay.
quite
She's
sure.
a good listener.
You're trying to
That's
dig
what I'll
out of
say.
it, aren't you? And
Yeah,
you're trying to be a
totally.
little bit
Just trying to save
unbiased.
myself because I'm
my
bending
brother
my
put
rules
no
and it's a
baby
bad
oil
thing.
on, by the way. It was just the lack of application of sunscreen.
So
Oh,
you're just
Annie's-
admitting that you lied?
What? No, he said baby oil.
You said baby.
No,
oil.
I said that I
Oh,
had put
so-
baby oil
oh,
on
oh,
myself.
you
used
Flipping
it
yourself
as an
up, eh, dude?
example.
Oh, please.
Time
It's
to
the lawyer in me coming
fold,
out.
Right,
fold.
yeah.
We have an interesting one-word comment from Nikhil Chod. I don't know how to pronounce that. Just says sexy in capital letters. Who is sexy?
Dan.
Is it Dan? Is it Andy?
Is it
Annie,
you?
did take off your jacket, and I did think she's trying to
So
get the
they're
male
white.
vote
Oh,
out
right.
there, not me.
Oh, wait,
So
now I
maybe it
can
was this.
That's what did it. No more
That's
jacket
it.
removal.
We discovered the mic mystery.
All right.
Okay, let me get in. Can I get going with a
Please,
couple
please,
of questions?
please.
Okay, music alone. Just another comment, Dan. And you're not stuttering this time. You're blinking too much, and apparently that
Oh my
means
God,
you might be
I
lying.
blink too. It's natural. It's
Guys,
God's plan.
Give him a break.
Jeez.
Celeb Poker forever. They've changed it. You put it
yes,
in. Thank
yay.
you so much. That's made my night. What motel did you stay at?
Oh, God, I was 14. It was just a crappy motel. I just remember the Swedish smorgasbord because my brother, who eventually got to be 420 pounds, was so excited by the Swedish smorgasbord with like the buffet of noodles, and it was, anyway. I don't remember the name of the motel, surely.
I remember the name of the hotel.
We flew down on Delta, though. I remember that because it was some sort of all-inclusive package.
Yeah, it was.
Good.
We heard that part. Look, we were staying at the Polynesian Resort in Kissimmee, however you want to say
Not
it.
in Orlando.
Florida. Not in Orlando, because we couldn't
We were in
afford
Orlando by
Yeah.
Let me
Wow,
ask you a
guys.
question
Nobody
about,
stays in Orlando except the Disneys. Go on.
liquid Benadryl. This is something
Yeah,
you
this
take by
was
the
in
spoon, or this is a
1978.
topical thing that you put on?
It's
the
like
sunburn?
cough syrup, and it knocks you out.
Why? And
Yeah.
why did I've got a question, if I may? Why did you have what is it? An uncle that's an eye doctor who happened to be on the trip?
Because we traveled, where I'm from in Bath, New York, half the town goes on the same vacation. We'd either go to Myrtle Beach and you'd see your math teacher like at the next hotel. But
Right.
my parents went with their friends. Their best friends
Okay.
were the Walligs, that was my godfather,
Okay.
and yeah.
What did the honeymooners do after they were vomited on from music
Well,
alone?
I remember the guy. I remember he was blonde. He was relatively gracious about it, except he had throw up all over his lap, so he wasn't happy about it. So we sort of made way out of there really quickly as the staff sort of swarmed in to clean him up. It was really, really, really disgusting. So, his reaction was one of complete horror. But he was relatively gracious to my brother about it because, my brother was a teenager, and obviously he was sick, and he was bright red, so it was clear.
What can you
he'd
do
stroke,
when you're
yeah.
vomiting? You are vomiting. Oh,
Yeah.
interesting vote.
Interesting. If you haven't voted yet, go ahead and do so now. And you're voting for who you think the liar is. Who's the liar?
I don't
Is it
dare
Dan?
blink
Is it
or
Annie?
swallow.
I've again
don't move.
flip-flop a couple of times, but I am going to write down who I think is lying. And Louise, I'm going to be really curious about
Yeah.
who you think is lying. Though I have to say, I think the person who I think is lying did a really good job of it, and so I could be really, really wrong.
think
but
I
I want to
agree
ask
with
one more
you.
question. So when your sister and when Howard showed up,
Yeah.
I'll ask Dan first. Noxzema and the sunburn, they ate at Kay's cafeteria and before? Like, what did they throw up? The food that they had just been eating, or they were just so sick from stuff they'd been eating at Wet and Wild all day?
She had some of my cake because she got there when we were mid-meal and I already was into my cake. So she came in with a Noxzema, which was also something you didn't include in your thing, which was how freaked out people were when she came up to the table all covered in Noxzema because she looked crazy. And then she had a bite of my cake and then she seemed drunk and then she threw up. On
And
the
did
bridal
Howard
cup.
get his noodles, or?
Well, first of all, I want to point out that we didn't put the Noxzema on his face. It was all over his back. But he actually threw up like noodles and meatballs. He ate at the buffet. He loved to eat. He got to be 420 pounds. He was like, all he could talk about when we got to the motel was, look, there's a Swedish smorgasbord across the street. So on the night that we had planned to go, he was really upset and showed up in the middle, ate lots of food, and then immediately like undigested.
All right.
I am so entertained right now. I don't even get. If I ever am a criminal, I want you to be my accomplice. Bloody brilliant in front of the police.
My brother also once threw up lasagna on the radiator, and we had those old style radiators in the house. That was gross. The smell was really
That's
bad.
just TMI.
I have lots of throw-up
Yeah.
stories
Too
about
much
my brother.
and
information.
specific content of the throw-up. Louise, what's the vote? Well, what does the audience think? Who do they think is lying?
Drum roll. Can I have a drum roll, please? Who's the liar? 67% of you think that Dan is the liar.
Once
It's
again,
like the
audience
worst show ever. It's screw the room, screw the celebrity liar.
I also thought Dan was lying, though I thought the liquid Benadryl was an awesome touch.
Did
What
they
about
have
you,
liquid
Louise?
Benadryl?
It was that
Yes.
random
78?
Uncle Doctor Eye Man that really just put me off. Otherwise, I was going with you because you're too convincing. You're so good at this game.
You know why
God.
I'm convincing?
Will the real liar please stand up?
I was lying. God, I suck at this game. I lost every time I was on.
I thought you did a really good job, and I was with you there for a while, but then...
But what blew it? So I
Doctor,
learned how to lie
the
better.
eye doctor.
No, but that,
Me.
do you know
No.
that really happened to me? We were in South Carolina and I got such a bad sunburn and the eye doctor was with us and I had liquid Benadryl.
Did
and
you
it
really?
knocks you out, yeah.
See, I thought that was BS because I didn't know they had liquid Benadryl back then.
They didn't have Benadryl over the counter. It was like a prescription.
Gotcha.
Come on.
See, that's
Well,
why
I gotta
know
tell
this
you,
every
the thing that made me think Annie was telling the truth was that I just find Swedish smorgasbord food far more vomitable.
Yeah, that's
than
true.
cake.
Yeah.
It really
Yeah.
was,
Yeah.
and he was so
I'm with you.
excited, and then it was just
Oh.
undigested. It
Noodles
was
and the
so
meatball
gross.
and
It was.
the-
I felt so bad for that honeymoon couple. It was so disgusting.
Yeah.
And by the way, I just want to say something. You were all like, "I'm so excited to go to Disney." I was 14 years old. I didn't want to go to Disney World for my freaking vacation.
But I was lying.
What
I
a
just made that
ridiculous
up.
choice, like
Cooler
Disney
kid. You were
World.
just a cooler kid than he was. Who knows?
I guess
But I didn't really go with this was a lie.
I was like, this is BS. I've never been on a vacation except to my relatives in Philadelphia. You're taking me to Disney World? Dude.
Annie, you've won the first two storylines,
Yes,
which
yes,
is awesome.
yeah.
But Dan, you've got a chance still to win up to $73 million
Yay.
for your charity,
Oh.
which they both are the same charity, so it's really awesome. It'll just be in whose name the money is donated to the American Red Cross. But let's play lightning round because it's
Okay.
so much fun.
I have to
And-
start telling stories that are less than 2 minutes. That's my lesson from this.
Yeah.
But yes, whether you're telling the truth or whether you're fibbing.
Long-winded.
You're doing great, Annie.
I'm long-winded, though.
In the lightning round, I've been given some supposed facts by my celebrity guests, and I've mixed up some of the true ones and some of the false ones in a random order.
Okay.
And Dan's going to read 5 of them to Annie, and she's going to instantly, like lightning, say true or false. And then
Okay.
we'll find out afterwards if she was right or not.
Nerve-wracking. Lightning round.
And I'll tell you
Okay.
this, I will throw each of you another Mega Millions ticket and maybe some bonus tickets for the winner for each one you get right. But
Okay.
let's do it up. And remember, lightning.
Okay. No, I just want to say something.
Yeah.
This is going to be hard for me because this kind of stuff is profiling, and Dan's so bizarre that I think it's going to be hard for me to tell. Like,
Yeah, but you've made millions of
Where's that
dollars
about?
reading people. I mean,
I know, but when I place it, Dan would crush me at poker because you couldn't know what was going on because he doesn't even know.
What a compliment.
Ah.
Can't even play shoots
Love
and
you, Dan.
ladders. Thanks.
all
back
right.
at
Okay.
ya.
lightning round, go.
I've never seen Lost.
Lightning.
False.
Lightning. Okay. Sorry,
built
I'm
a
just gonna chip
boat.
in there.
Talkie.
False.
No. I built a boat with my dad.
False.
Rude. I don't like to eat. I don't like to eat meat off the bone.
Wait.
Wait.
I don't understand.
I know, it's weird, right?
I'm confused.
I'm going to say true to that.
My sister dyed my hair black when I was in the 2nd grade.
False.
You're trying to have a neutral voice. I love it.
Really? That's what my wife says
Actually,
when I answer the
it's
phone.
all very
She says,
monotone.
I'm like answering randomly because he just makes me laugh, and so I can't even
You know what? We're
process
just going to
anything
call
he's
this the
saying.
round.
The tortoise.
No, but my
Laugh
sister,
every
both my
time.
sister and my daughter say when I answer the phone, I'm all talking like this, and then I go, hello. Like, so that must be my thing, yeah.
Okay, the last one, Dan.
I prefer Taco Bell over authentic Mexican cuisine.
False.
All right, let's review.
But I don't know because I just want to laugh as opposed to answer.
Well, it is entertaining. He
It's
said
hard.
he never saw Lost, and you said that's false. And you
Yeah.
know what? That's true. He
I've
has
never seen it.
never.
I
Would
want
you
to.
even like live on this planet?
Ugh, I know. What am I? I'm upset about
You know
it.
just as much as the rest of us about the plot. It's
All right,
fine.
all right.
That's true. Good point.
You're all good.
Before he was even done with the sentence, you thought it was false that he had built a
Yes.
boat with his dad, and it
Yeah.
is indeed false.
Yeah,
he
okay,
has
I got
not
that
built
right.
a boat with
It
his
would have
dad.
been nice.
That's one for
Yeah.
It's one of my regrets.
Your Republican judge.
Okay, we
Yeah.
need this specified because I think all of us tripped on your syntax here. You said you don't like to eat meat off the bone, meaning that it's still on the bone and you don't like to bite it off. You said true, and it is true, but what do you mean by that?
I assume because I happen to know about him that he's afraid of fruit, so I thought, well, maybe he's afraid of meat on the bone too.
It
Of
just
all foods.
it grosses me out. From when I was little, my mom, I was eating like a boiled chicken leg or something, and something snapped into my lip, and I was like, "Oh my god, what was that?" And my mom said, "Just a vein," and I was like, "Oh!" Like, so
Did you vomit onto honeymooners by any chance?
Oh,
yeah, and I threw up.
I get that though because I've had that happen. I mean, I still eat meat off the bone, but
I just don't like to. I want to live in denial. Like
I
you could
understand.
fry my mother's
so
heart
no
and I'd
fruit.
eat it.
If you ever come to the house,
If it's breaded, I'll eat it.
Food,
Yeah.
No meat on
no
the
meat
bone.
on the bone.
Okay.
Annie, you've gotten 2 out of the first 3. He said that his sister dyed his hair black when he was in the 2nd grade. You said it's false,
Yeah.
and it is indeed.
It's false. Yeah.
totally
I mean,
false.
it could have happened,
Oh,
but it
okay.
didn't.
That's 3 for Annie. And the last one he said was that he prefers Taco Bell over authentic
now
Mexican cuisine.
I'm nervous because he looks like a Taco Bell guy, and I
Biggest insult of the entire series, right now.
just
How are you
because
gonna
he
come
does
back
the
at that?
mechanic.
I don't know. It's not really an insult to you because
There's been a weight gain. I can't help it. I like bread.
you like Taco Bell.
I love Taco Bell, and I authentic Mexican cuisine freaks me out.
Oh, see, You know, that was.
I wanna know I'm gonna like
regretful of
it.
my answer as soon
So
as
if
I
I
said
know
it.
that's
Smokey
wrong.
Robinson
Dan,
opened
your
an authentic
food
Mexican
choices are-
cuisine.
I would pass out. Yeah.
Okay.
Literally.
We've established on a previous episode that Dan has a fear of Smokey Robinson. So,
I
all right.
knew when I said that, I knew that I was wrong. I was like, look at him though. He's Taco Bell. God damn it.
Dan, Annie got 3 out of 5. Let's see
Okay.
if you can do better than that.
Okay.
Here are Annie's
Okay.
facts, and let's put the lightning back in lightning round.
All right.
I was having a good time. So it doesn't
Okay.
matter.
When I was growing up, I had a parakeet named Twinkie.
False.
I met my boyfriend Joe while rescuing my agent from a blind date with Melissa Rivers.
True. What? You don't even believe my answer?
My,
I thought it was so crazy. It might be true.
my father.
She just felt bad for me. She's like, he's so stupid. All right, go on.
All right, my father grew up in Kalamazoo, Michigan.
Liar. False.
When I was in high school, I ran cross country.
Yeah, you did.
I hate Brussels sprouts.
True.
All right.
So
I
wait,
think I
I just
sucked
want to
on
point
that.
out this one was kind of unfair since I've now mentioned that my father's family lived in Philadelphia.
When did you say
they might have
that?
moved there from Kalamazoo.
Right.
It's all
The Jews-
right,
the Jews
Annie.
from
It's
Kalamazoo.
just a game.
Yeah, yeah.
It's fine.
Do you think Dan was really
it's
paying
just a
attention?
No.
The Jews from Kalamazoo, Michigan.
Let's keep it
All
rolling.
right, so let's see if Dan can do
Okay.
better than 3 in the
Right,
lightning
yes.
round, as you
Let's
did.
see if he can.
The first one, she said when she was little she had a parakeet named Twinkie. Dan
Right.
said false, and indeed,
I had a cat named Twinkie.
yeah, not
Right.
a parakeet, so that's
No
1
bird.
for Dan.
Yep.
All right, you need 2 more to tie her and 3 more to beat her.
Wow.
She also said that she
Do you hear what
met
you said? That sounds sexy.
in the game. She said she met her boyfriend,
Sexy.
the very talented Joe Reitman, while rescuing
Yay,
her
Joe.
agent from a blind date with Melissa Rivers, and
That would be so weird because I was on that show with Melissa Rivers later. That was true.
it was true.
Ah.
Dan said it was true. That's 2. You need 1 more to tie, 2 more to pull ahead in this
Bad
lightning
for
round.
Joe that happened.
My father grew up in Kalamazoo, Michigan.
we know that's
We
not
it's
true.
false.
He's a Jew from
That's
Philadelphia,
3.
man.
This lightning round is all tied up. When I was in high school, I ran cross country. He said it's true.
That's false.
It's
Oh.
so
I was
goddamn
like
false.
a total druggie in high school, man. There was no running. I was like smoking pot behind the skate
Loving
house.
Oh,
All right, so
Annie.
it comes down to
Cha-
this. Dan, you need this one. You need to have guessed correctly here. She said she hates Brussels sprouts. You said it's true. She does hate Brussels sprouts. Annie, how do you feel about Brussels sprouts?
My favorite vegetable.
That's so
Loves
stupid.
them. You got a tie lightning round.
Now, you know what? So here's the
Nobody,
thing.
just
My
you.
brother loves Brussels sprouts, and my sister loves Brussels sprouts. And
Hereditary.
we decided it's a hereditary. We have Brussels sprouts at Thanksgiving and Christmas.
I
Wow.
gotta ask,
He
has-
just
have you
vomits
ever
Brussels
vomited
sprouts
Brussels
everywhere.
sprouts?
Yeah, it's like
Brussels sprouts
a vomitorium
everywhere.
of sprouts.
All right, Louise, what do you say we dole out some money to these charities?
I
here,
reckon,
or-
but there's some brilliant stuff coming in that I can't let us leave. The
Okay,
show
please
without.
All right,
pitch
yes.
us what the
Real-
chat room saying as I hand out the dough.
There is a huge campaign to get you as the new face of Taco Bell.
Yes!
Bring it on.
Perfect.
And then real King Julian, who's just popped up and said, "What, you mean Dan, the guy with the red dyed hair?" I think King Julian's looking at the
Red
light.
dyed hair?
Oh, that's funny. Could
Maybe zoom in
How
and
do you
show
feel
that.
about
a
that,
Taco Bell
Dan?
song like on the spot?
Yeah. So it went from really high to just really
at
low,
this.
your self-esteem just then.
Oh my God! Don't
It's
make
all
me
right.
prove
It's
it,
gonna
people.
be all right.
I want Dan to sing like a Taco Bell endorsement song.
I actually was I had a Taco Bell deal like 5 years ago, introducing the new Taco Bell breakfast.
Didn't you have to go introducing?
No, I was bringing the flavor to breakfast. That's what I
Loving
was.
it.
So this summer,
But it never
I
went.
was part of a Del Taco promotion.
Oh.
We're rivals.
Oh my God.
Was it your favorite
Rivals.
job ever? I mean,
No, because I actually had to eat like a Crunch Wrap or something, and it's filled with foam, and it's horrible.
Ooh.
I couldn't go back to the Bell after.
Ew.
So
Yeah.
that was a lie. You anti-Bell nowadays.
No, I still love the Bell in my heart, but you know, if I had to choose between
Taco
authentic
Bell.
El
and
Coyote down the
taco.
road. That's
Yeah.
my fave.
Oh well, good for you.
In
Let's
case
go
you need
now.
a face for your next campaign. El Coyote.
Yeah, right. Nice plug.
Thanks.
Dan, since
Free
you got 3
guacamole.
right in the lightning round, I'm going to give you 3 chances at winning up to $73 million, an undisclosed portion of which you will, of course, donate to the Red Cross.
I will.
Andy, you
I will.
get 3 for your 3 in the lightning round and 10 for taking
10.
both rounds earlier. And I gotta, you know
That
what?
hurts.
Louise
I got
Rowe is
dupes.
such an awesome chat jockey that I gotta give her 3
Oh,
shots.
thanks.
Yay.
73.
That wasn't even
Miss
planned or
Really
staged. I'm
dollars.
really shocked
No,
and
it's
surprised.
pretty
I'm
awesome.
campaigning.
The
That
chance
wasn't the
for the
agreement.
chance.
And the rest, I'm of course saving to try and buy some new clothes because Louise was
Yes.
really sweet when she said I don't need them, but we all know I do.
Although I
Wow.
love, I don't know what this is made of.
I like
but
this
it's-
jacket a lot, but
It's quite, it's sort of a touchable material. Have you
It is.
noticed
It's
that,
touchable.
Andy?
That's
It is. It's touchable.
that's Andy Hill Newman.
Please feel
Touchable.
free to touch as I say my thank yous and farewells. This has been a really great show. I thank both of you for coming
Yay, thank
and
you.
lying
It was
and
fun.
telling the truth and sharing with us such intimate and true details of your life. I thank Louise for being such an awesome chat
Thank
jockey,
you.
even though she
Yay.
doesn't have a riding crop yet.
Yeah,
We will
send them
certainly- We will certainly get her one. TheRoomLive.com, where we're doing the show from, is pretty much the coolest place going on the internet. They do comedy in here. They do music in here. They do cooking shows. They have authors. They got us. So obviously it's pretty darn cool. So please come back. Check out other stuff. Check out the video on demand. Tell your friends. Follow us on Twitter. My thing is Celeb Liar, at Celeb Liar.
At Celeb Liar.
Facebook, we got a fan page, Celebrity Liar. Check that out. Join up, become a fan, tell your friends. We're going to do a lot more of these. Please come back and watch them again. I want to thank Robin Ruzan. I want to thank Michael Davis. And I want to thank Matt Edwards and everyone here in TheRoomLive.com who helps make my dream of becoming a game show host a reality. I have a really great time doing this. I hope you had a good time watching. Thanks so much, and come back and see us again. Good night.